Forcing supermarket giants to sell their assets would not be a credible response to abuse of market power. That's according to a review of the Grocery Code of Conduct. Live to our political reporter Cameron Redding. Cam, this review was put together by former Labor Minister Craig Emerson. There's a few proposals in here. What is the government going to adopt?
Yeah, the government's quite keen to look at this idea of making the voluntary code of conduct, which currently governs the grocery sector, mandatory. It's a sign-up process at the moment, and as a result, there are no firm penalties attached when market power is breached. Between the big four of Woolies and Coles and Aldi and Metcash, which owns the likes of IGA, those four alone own 82% of market share in Australia's grocery sector, which makes it very difficult to rein in bad behaviour, so this report argues. As a result, Dr Craig Emerson, who put this interim report together, is arguing to make the Code of Conduct mandatory and, as a result, empower the ACCC, the consumer watchdog, to impose penalties which could be massive, up to 10% of annual turnover on companies that breach their social contract with consumers and producers, if you like, to make this social contract in black and white and enforceable. For the big giants like Coles and Woolworths, 10% of their annual turnover would amount to billions of dollars in fines. So Craig Emerson and the government is indicating it's supportive of this idea, wants to make that threat a reality.
Our real interest here is making sure that people are paying less at the checkout. We want to make sure that the big supermarkets aren't using their huge footprints, their huge networks to make it harder for customers to get a good deal.
This report, though, pours cold water on the idea of forced divestiture, which is a technical term for essentially saying that supermarkets should have to sell up some of their assets in instances where there might be market abuse or there is too great a concentration in any particular market. It's an idea that's been put forward in legislation by the Greens, endorsed by a number of crossbenchers, and is being worked on by the coalition as well, pushed quite strongly by the Nationals leader David Littleproud, arguing that you cannot have a full suite of tools in the toolkit, if you like, to keep supermarkets to account if you completely disregard divestiture, which this report does.
I think it's also a little concerning for Craig Emerson to rule out things like divestiture powers. There needs to be big fines, but there also it's more complex than that. You also have other codes that need to be run into this. It fails to look at things like land banking, which does take away the competition